Shalom. I want to start off by giving all glory and honor to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Merkakodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well, and peace and salutations to the hopeful elect who are continuing to fight and teach this thing of ours in truth and sincerity. I'm the brother Manatazak with GMS Ancient of Days in Los Angeles, currently teaching with the Akim in Sherman Oaks. And today, through the Spirit, I want to get into a lesson that's titled, Something Wicked This Way Comes. Okay, and what that is basically an old idiom. It's a song lyric, okay, from a Halloween musical. And basically I'm using that because it's apropos for the time that we're in now, because today happens to be October 31st, Halloween. And we're in the time now where we're still in the government shutdown. Beginning tomorrow, Saturday, November 1st, EBT benefits are supposedly cut off. Yet here it is, at least out here in Cali anyway, you have a lot of people preparing and getting ready to go out to these Halloween events, these Halloween parties. Okay, but it's obvious, okay, if you have the eyes to see and the ears to hear, that the mirth in this place is gone. Okay, these wicked holidays that people in Babylon used to covet and look forward to are no longer as exciting and as eventful as they used to be. And you have these people getting ready for these events as if they're trying to revive or relive the good old days. Okay, but Babylon the Great is circling the drain and it's not coming back. Okay, and Lord willing, okay, Babaku Shah, Abba Yahweh Yahweh Shai, this government continues to be shut down, and these benefits continue to be neglected from the people that have been abusing it. Okay, because we know that this kingdom must fall before the righteous kingdom, the Israelites, rise. Okay, and we are on the cusp now of watching the quote-unquote greatest nation on the earth, okay, be taken down. All right, but what inspired this lesson is the fact that today is Halloween, but I want to show in the customs of the Israelites that this was never a holiday that we were supposed to celebrate or covet as a people. Okay, and when you even go into the history of Halloween, that should let you know right then and there, once you read what it was about and when it was first instituted, that this has nothing to do with the nation of Israel. Yet our people are the ones that highly exalt and look forward to this time of year. We're dressing up our kids, going to scantily clad parties, you know, having an excuse to just be lewd. Okay, so Lord willing, this lesson is edifying to the hopeful elect, and we're going to begin in Jeremiah 10:1. Okay, because just like the rest of the holidays in this kingdom, so-called holidays, because they're not like the holy days that were given to our nation. Okay, you so-called Negroes, so-called Hispanics, and so-called Native Americans. Okay, Halloween is just another pagan and satanic ritual. Okay, and it has nothing to do with the Most High Yahweh Shem Shai and His only begotten Son, or Yahweh Shem Shai and His only begotten Son Yahweh Shai. Okay, so this lesson is basically an exhortation and a spiritual reasoning, okay, but behind the rejecting of such holidays, okay, because you have included with that Christmas, okay, even before that, Thanksgiving, you have Easter, birthdays, etc. All that falls under the same pagan vein, okay. So without further ado, this is Jeremiah 10, beginning at verse 1. Jeremiah 10:1, and it reads, Hear ye the word of the Lord Yahweh Shema Shai. Hear ye the word which the Lord Yahweh Shema Shai speaketh unto you, O house of Israel. Thus saith the Lord Yahweh Shema Shai, Learn not the way of the heathen, and be not dismayed at the signs of heaven, for the heathen are dismayed at them. For the customs of the people are vain, for one cutteth a tree out of the forest, the work of the hands of the workmen with the axe. Okay, they deck it with silver and with gold, they fasten it with nails and with hammers, that it move not. Now this is a precept that we oftentimes use to show you about the cutting of the tree and decking it with silver and wreaths and ornaments, okay, is pagan. Okay, it's a custom of the heathen, and this oftentimes is referred to what we do for Christmas. Okay, with the trees in the house and whatnot. Okay, according to the Most High, that's wicked. Okay, but I wanted to start here because it shows that Yahweh Hashem Ashai is directly commanding his people not to learn or follow the customs of the heathen nations. And Halloween, which is originally known as Samhain, I believe it's called, comes from the ancient Celtic witchcraft. Okay, and you can do your own Googles, your own personal research behind that, but best believe it didn't originate from Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, and therefore thus, okay, is a wicked and heathenistic custom. Okay, and what you'll find when you look into the when it was first instituted is that it has its roots in witchcraft and demon worship. Okay, and this is the same heathenistic practices that the nation of Israel was warned to stay away from. Okay, so modern holidays are nothing but repackaged paganism under new names. I'm gonna say that again. Modern holidays are nothing but repackaged paganism under new names. So just because it isn't as rampant and as in your face as it was when they were first instituted, okay, the root of where it comes from and what it symbolizes stays the same. So you'll have people out there say, oh, we're doing it for the kids, or it's cute to see them dress up. In the eyes of Yahweh Hashem Shai, it's still seen as an abomination. Okay? Let's get Ephesians 5 and 11 for our next precept. Ephesians 5 and 11, and it reads, and have no fellowship with the unfruitful works of darkness, but rather reprove them. And is not the scriptures, don't they exhort us to rebuke, reprove, and exhort? Okay, and that's exactly what this lesson is. It's an exhortation and a spiritual reasoning. Okay, and it shouldn't be hard to be understood. Halloween literally celebrates darkness, death, witchcraft, and fear. Okay, I mean, just look what the main symbolism is of this so-called holiday. You got the pumpkins, or the jack-o'-lanterns as they call it. You got ghosts and ghouls, goblins, actual witches, okay, and skeletons. Okay, we aren't even supposed to see a skeleton in the Hebrew Israelite custom, let alone dress up as one. Okay, so here in Ephesians, the Apostle Paul told us to expose such things, to not participate in them. So while you have the masses out in Babylon the Great dressing up, putting on masks, and joining the world in the folly that is today, okay, it's basically a fellowship with darkness. And we as Israelites, the righteous, are supposed to rebuke this wickedness through the truth. Okay? We were supposed to be a nation that was set apart, holy. We have our own set of customs and high holy days that we follow. Okay? And a lot of them go into great achievements in our history. That if we were taught and if we practice, what we would come to find are much more enjoyable and celebratory than these wicked days that are promoted throughout Babylon. And that's one thing that me personally, I can't wait to get back to, is to the annual practices of our high holy days and what they represent. Okay, let's get Wisdom of Solomon in the Apocrypha. Wisdom of Solomon chapter 14. Wisdom of Solomon chapter 14, and we're going to begin at verse 16. It says, thus, in process of time, an ungodly custom grown strong was kept as a law, and graven images were worshipped by the commandment of kings, whom men could not honor in presence because they dwelt far off. They took the counterfeit of his visage from far and made an express image of a king whom they honored, to the end that by their forwardness they might flatter him that was absent, as if he were present. Okay, now the reason I brought this out is to show that this precept basically cuts to the root of the problem. Okay, and what is that? That's ungodly customs like these holidays in Babylon became accepted over time as normal. Okay, and that's exactly what happened with Halloween. Okay, what started as a pagan ritual to the dead and to evil spirits was passed down, rebranded, and enforced by different religions and political power. So today people treat it as harmless, but as I mentioned before, the origin remains the same, and that's why the prophets are out standing upon their watch, giving out warning, even to something that seems to be innocent or thought of as fun. Okay, there's a nefarious purpose behind today, and it's our job to bring it out, to warn you and let you know. Leviticus 19 and verse 31, which reads, "Thou shalt rise up before the hoary head and honor the face of the old man and fear the Most High." Oh, no, Salakia. Verse 31, that was 32. It says, "Regard not them that have familiar spirits, neither seek after wizards to be defiled by them. I am the Lord Yahweh Bashem Yahshai, your power." Okay? So, Halloween glorifies exactly what Yahweh Bashem Yahshai forbade. Okay, and we just read it. Witches, wizards, necromancy, spirits of the dead, and the occult. Okay, all those things open spiritual doors, whether you believe them or not. And they open spiritual doors to the left-hand side, to these demons. Okay? So when you dress up your children, when you dress them up as witches or vampires or wizards and whatnot, what you're doing is symbolically honoring the same spirits that Yahweh Hashem Hashai condemned. And you're bringing evil upon yourself. Okay, whether you realize it or not. Let's get Deuteronomy 18, verse 10. Deuteronomy chapter 18, verse 10. Let's see. Actually, I'll begin at verse 9. This is the book of Deuteronomy chapter 18, verse 9, and it reads, "When thou art come into the land which the Lord Yahweh Hashem Hashai thy power giveth thee, thou shalt not learn to do after the abominations of those nations. There shall not be found among you anyone that maketh his son or his daughter to pass through the fire, or that uses divination, or an observer of times, or an enchanter, or a witch, or a charmer, or a consulter with familiar spirits, or a wizard, or a necromancer." Okay? So these verses here make it plain. Okay, the Lord calls witchcraft and sorcery abominations. And Halloween is built entirely on divination, enchantments, and spiritual invocation. All right, and the Israelites were told not to even be around that energy. But today, that those same spirits work behind the different costumes that we wear, the horror movies that we covet. Okay, in the quote unquote trick or treat rituals, right? Because there's an evil history behind that as well. If you look up the origins behind the words trick or treat. Okay, and we don't have to get into it now, but it just goes to show you, you do your own research and you'll come to find out how wicked, okay, today really is. All right, let's move on to 1 Corinthians 10, beginning at verse 20. And it reads, "But I say that the things which the Gentiles sacrifice, they sacrifice to devils and not to the Most High. And I would not that ye should have fellowship with devils." Okay, ye cannot drink the cup of the Lord and the cup of devils. Ye cannot be partakers of the Lord's table and of the table of devils. And that's plain and simple. When you partake in pagan holidays, you're spiritually sacrificing to devils. Okay, there's no such thing as harmless fun, or we're doing it for the kids. Okay, as most parents will say in defense, as if that makes it okay. Okay, the Most High sees it as choosing Satan's table over his. Okay, and you can't serve the Most High Yahweh Bashem Hashai in this world. Okay, There's a proverbial line in the sand, okay? That especially when you come into the truth, you have to make a conscious decision whether you're going to follow Yahweh Shem Shai all the way, or whether you're going to stay in tune to the world. And there is no such thing as being lukewarm, because we know what the scriptures say about that if you're lukewarm, the Lord is going to spew you out. Okay? Let's get the next chapter, 2 Corinthians, chapter 6, verse 14. And it says, "Be ye not unequally yoked together with unbelievers. For what fellowship hath righteousness with unrighteousness? And what communion hath light with darkness? And what concord hath Hamashiach with Belial? Or what part hath he that believeth with an infidel? And what agreement hath the temple of the Most High with idols? For ye are the temple of the living power, as the Most High has said, I will dwell in them and walk in them, and I will be their power, and they shall be my people. Wherefore come out from among them, and be ye separate, saith the Lord, and touch not the unclean thing, and I will receive you." Okay? And will be a father unto you, and ye shall be my sons and daughters, saith the Lord Almighty. Okay, so this goes to show you the importance of the relationship we Israelites have with the one true living power. Okay? And Halloween and all the different worldly customs, okay, belong to the children of darkness, to say the least. Okay, and the elect, especially the elect of our nation, are commanded to come out from among them, meaning to separate spiritually from these wicked traditions. Okay, and as I mentioned earlier, and as the scripture just said, we are to be set apart, which means to be holy. Okay, we are not to be joined on to these heathens and their vain customs and traditions. Okay, let's get Amos 5:21. It says, I despise your feast days, and I will not smell in your solemn assemblies. Okay, and the reason I'm bringing this out is to show that even in ancient Israel, our people adopted pagan feasts and mixed them with worship of the Lord Yahweh Shem Shai. Okay, and we just read that the Heavenly Father hates those feasts because they are not His. But once again, Halloween, Thanksgiving, Christmas, Easter, these are not the Lord's feast days. They are man-made. Okay, and the Most High rejects them openly, and all those who celebrate them. Keep that in mind. Okay. Let's get the book of Baruch in the Apocrypha, chapter 4, beginning at the top. It says, "This is the book of the commandments of the Most High, and the law that endureth forever." Okay? All they that keep it shall come to life, but such as leave it shall die. Now this seems like a pretty straightforward scripture, but it's actually saying a lot. And what it's saying is that the law still stands even to this day. Okay? The same commandments that told us not to follow heathen customs are still binding. Okay? We here at Great Millstone always emphasize that the law, statutes, and commandments are eternal. Okay? They are not to be replaced with worldly traditions. Okay? When it comes to the law, statutes, and commandments, as we just read in Baruch 4:1, to obey them is to live. To disobey them is to perish. Okay? Because what are the wages of sin? Death. Okay? And we serve and worship a power of the living. All right? So let's close this out in Revelations 18:4. This lesson wasn't meant to be long. Just an exhortation. Revelations 18:4, and it reads, "And I heard another voice from heaven saying, Come out of her, my people, that ye be not partakers of her sins, and that ye receive not of her plagues." Now this is going into the fall of Babylon the Great. Okay, the times that we're living in now. That her refers to Babylon the Great, or America, modern America. Okay, where these pagan holidays are glorified. Okay, and Yahweh Shai is calling His elect to separate spiritually from Babylon's customs, because judgment is coming. Okay, celebrating Halloween ties you into the sins of Babylon, idolatry, witchcraft, and rebellion. Okay. Okay, and the scriptures say rebellion is as the sin of witchcraft, and that I suffer not a witch to live. And what was the judgment of a witch? It was to burn with fire. And that's exactly how 2/3 of our people are going to go out here in Babylon the Great. Okay, by fire. And that fire is soon coming. So take heed to the message now while you yet have liberty. So Lord willing, this lesson of exhortation was edifying to the hopeful elect. I want to give all glory and honor to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well. And peace and salutations to the hopeful elect who are continuing to fight and teach this thing of ours in truth and sincerity. This has been your brother Manatazak, and until next lesson, Shalom.